Miss Agatha said. "Follow me, child, and don't dawdle." Mandy's lower lip was quivering as she followed the woman from the room. Jed longed to reach out to her, to comfort and reassure her, but he dared not. He ached inside as he imagined the torment that his little sister was going through. "If I'm scared," he told himself, "she must be terrified." He cleared his throat. "Miss Madeline, when will I see Mandy again? How much time will we have together here?" Miss Madeline ignored the question. "Grab your things," she instructed, "and I'll show you to your room." Jed leaned over and retrieved his flour sack from the floor. He tried again. "Will I be able to see Mandy at lunchtime? May we sit together?" The woman turned on him like a cat pouncing on a mouse. "I said it already, and I will say it just once more," she hissed, leaning so close to him that her nose was just inches from his. "In this establishment, boys and girls do not have contact with each other. No, Mr. Barrett, you will not sit with her at lunch." "But she's my sister and she needs me," he protested. "Ma died just 4 days ago, and we just lost Pa yesterday. Mandy is scared and lonely and worried. She's afraid of you and Miss Agatha and this place. I promised Pa yesterday that I'd look after her, Miss Madeline, and right now she needs me. I need to talk to her, to reassure her that everything—" "You hear me, and hear me well," Miss Madeline growled, thumping Jed on the chest with a huge forefinger. "We will take care of your sister. We know children, and we'll know how to handle her. So stop worrying. Right now, young man, you need to concern yourself with learning the rules and following them." Jed sighed. "Yes, ma'am." "Enough, then." She eyed the flour sack. "What do you have in there?" "Just my belongings, ma'am. My extra shirt and breeches and a pair of socks and a few odds and ends. Everything that I own is in this sack, ma'am." She gave him a hard look. "Any contraband?" Contraband? Jed didn't know the meaning of the word. "Things a boy should not have. A knife, a slingshot, tobacco." Jed's heart beat faster. His slingshot was in the flour sack, and his knife was in his pocket. He thought quickly. "I can give up the slingshot if I have to. I don't use it much anymore. But I cannot let her find my knife. Pa gave it to me. They already took Wolf from me, and if they take my knife, I won't have anything left to help me remember Pa. If she finds my knife, what would I carve with?" Desperation seized him. "I can't let her find the knife." Miss Madeline was staring at him as if she could read his thoughts. "Dump the contents of the sack on my desk and then empty your pockets." Jed sucked in his breath. "I can't let her take my knife." Knowing that it was useless to argue with the harsh woman, he turned towards the desk. As he did, a bold idea occurred to him. He allowed the flour sack to slip from his fingers and fall to the floor. As he bent over to pick it up with one hand, his other hand slipped into his pocket and seized the knife. He picked up the sack and, in the same instant, thrust the precious pocket knife into the top of his sock. Straightening up, he glanced at Miss Madeline to see if the move had been detected. He was relieved to see that the expression on her face had not changed. "Dump the sack on my desk and then empty your pockets." With heart pounding madly, he complied, upending the flour sack and allowing the contents to spill across the big desk. Miss Madeline pounced on the slingshot with an exclamation of triumph. "Aha! Just as I thought!" She held the simple weapon aloft with a huge, smug look on her face. Clutching the slingshot, she pawed through the rest of his belongings. "Empty your pockets!" He did, producing a length of twine, a pocket comb that Ma had given him as a birthday gift, and a silver dollar that he had won in a spelling bee. Miss Madeline confiscated the twine and the silver dollar, returning the comb back to him. She turned on her heel. "Follow me!" Jed hurriedly gathered his belongings, stuffed them back into the flour sack, and scurried to catch up with her. Miss Madeline walked quickly, moving faster than Jed had ever seen anybody walk. She led him to the boys' wing on the east side of the orphanage. After climbing a flight of stairs, she led him down a hallway and opened the first door she came to. "This will be your room. You will share it with 5 other boys." Jed stepped through the door to find that his dormitory room was dim, in spite of 2 large windows at the far end. The tiles on the floor were so dark that they were nearly black. The walls, for some reason, had been painted dark brown. A military-style bunk with one bed above another sat against the wall on his right. A similar bunk flanked the wall on the left, while a third sat between the 2 windows. A double row of coat hooks, 12 in all, were placed at eye level right beside the door. Other than that, the room was quite bare. "The lower bunk will be yours," Miss Madeline said, gesturing toward the bunk against the right wall. "And the 2 clothes hooks farthest from the door are for you to hang your clothes. See that your clothes are never left on the floor." Jed stepped to the window and looked out. The playground below him was hard-packed earth with a few scattered clumps of scraggly grass here and there. A swing set with 4 swings sat almost directly below the window, and just beyond the swings, 2 pairs of well-worn seesaws, one missing the seat. Far to his right, in the shadow of the high brick wall that surrounded the property, were 2 outhouses. He stepped closer to the window and looked to the left. On the other side of the playground sat another set of 4 swings, 3 seesaws, and a tall sliding board with a narrow ladder. A row of 3 outhouses graced the far wall. In the middle of the playground, right where Miss Madeline had said it would be, was a 3-foot-high wall dividing the boys' section from the girls' section. He felt a gentle hand on his shoulder and suddenly realized that Miss Madeline was standing right beside him. "I know this has not been easy for you," she said quietly, and he looked up in her surprise. "The other boys are in class right now, but I won't make you go today. Tomorrow will be soon enough. Just don't be tardy for lunch at 12:30. When the door closed behind her, Jed shuffled over to his assigned bunk and dropped the flour sack beside the thin pillow. Flopping down on the bed, he tried to gather his thoughts. Everything had happened so quickly. Less than 2 weeks ago, Ma and Pa had been healthy and happy, and everything had been just fine. And then the fever struck, and, glancing around the room to be certain that he was alone, he dropped his face into the pillow and allowed himself to weep openly.